Every year on my birthday, I was made to celebrate my adopted sister, and I never had my own party. But now, on the day of my wedding, my fiance surprised me with a birthday cake. My parents and sister went nuts, calling me selfish after all these years of patience, so I decided to cut them out of my life. My sister was adopted, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I was happy when we adopted her, but the one thing I never got used to was the fact that she said she didn't have a birthday. So my mom said, "You know what, we're going to give her the same birthday as you. We don't know her real birthday, so we're just going to let you both celebrate on the same day." What I didn't know was that this was the beginning of her taking over my household. Ever since I was a kid, up until I became an adult, my parents have always been more about my adopted sister. Let me just tell you a few things they've done to me. I wonder if not speaking up when something bothers me is what causes 80% of my problems. I never want to upset or disappoint anyone, so I tend to keep things to myself. Unfortunately, I end up getting overwhelmed and having an outburst. It could be months or even years after something has happened that I realize it bothered me. Recently, that happened, and it made me feel a certain way about myself. Even though my fiancé is convinced that I wasn't in the wrong, I can't help but feel as if I've ruined everyone's night. It all started 20 years ago when my parents brought home Paige, an orphan. I was 5 years old at the time, and Paige appeared to be the same age. There wasn't a lot of information about her birth or her age, so they were running on an estimation. Apparently, Paige was left at the doorstep of a church, taken in, and then later given to social services. My parents decided to adopt her because they felt that I was lonely. Despite trying for another baby, they failed, so that was how they brought me my sister Paige. I was extremely excited about having another child in the house because it sometimes got too lonely playing by myself. I'd always envied people who had siblings, so when Paige arrived, we bonded immediately. I made sure to include her in everything I did, and soon we were inseparable. Shortly after that, my 6th birthday came up. Paige looked a little bit sad, so I asked when her birthday was. I then told her it would be cool if her birthday was princess-themed because I knew she liked that sort of thing. Paige told me that she never had a birthday and didn't even know when her birthday was. I said that was sad, and then I offered her one of my presents. Unbeknownst to us, my mother was watching us have this interaction. Suddenly, she told us she'd be right back. A while later, she came back home with a second cake. She told me she had noticed how kind I had been to Paige, who didn't have a birthday, and asked if I didn't mind sharing my birthday with her. She said it would be cool to have 2 cakes and double the celebration. She also asked if I'd be willing to share my presents. Now, I loved my sister, and I didn't want her to feel sad, so I agreed. Little did I know that that was the biggest mistake of my life. It started with small things like me giving up something here or there just to make her happy. Eventually, my parents cared more about her opinion than mine. As we grew older, a rift formed between us. If I got in trouble for something, I was instantly reprimanded and punished, but she never got the same treatment. Our parents used the fact that she spent her early years in an orphanage as an excuse. They told me that she had gone through things I could never understand, which was why they were so lenient with her. That was the excuse for everything for many years to come. Simultaneously, I started slowly losing my birthdays. Each year, it started with Paige being allowed to pick a theme, to her getting more presents than me. By the time I was 16, I decided I didn't want to celebrate my birthday. I told my parents that it just wasn't cool anymore, and it was pretty childish. The truth was that I hated feeling less special on my birthday every single year. It ate at me and made me feel horrible about myself. I figured it would hurt less to not celebrate my birthday at all, and for years, I haven't celebrated it. It comes and goes, and I don't tell anyone about it. My fiancé knows that I skip my birthday, but he has no idea why. I just told him it's too much work, and he accepted it. Shane and I have been together for 3 years now and are getting married soon. In fact, we're getting married in a couple of days. Shane is kind, caring, and loyal, and he's someone I want to spend the rest of my life with. He makes me feel valued and loved, something my family has not done in years. His family is also absolutely wonderful. They treat me like one of their own and give me so much warmth and comfort. I'm excited to become part of their family. Now, to get to the reason why I'm writing this. A couple of days ago, it was Paige's birthday. It was also my birthday, but since I haven't celebrated it in years, it was Paige's day. My parents invited Shane and me to the birthday dinner. It went as usual, with everyone doting over Paige and no one even saying a single happy birthday to me. Shane has been around my family a lot, but never on my birthday. This was all normal to me, so when he felt weird about it, it made me think. He suddenly asked my parents why they hadn't wished me a happy birthday, even though I don't like celebrating. They just laughed and said that I gave up my birthday many years ago. Shane said it was very interesting how Paige and I were born on the same day. He knows about the adoption, but not all the details, so he must have assumed it was actually Paige's real birthday. Paige commented that she didn't actually know her birthday and stated that many years ago, I offered to share my birthday with her. He then asked if it didn't make her feel some sort of way that I never got a birthday, but she did. After that, she responded that I'd willingly given up my birthday, so she didn't think I cared. Shane then looked at my parents and told them that he didn't think I was okay with what was going on. He then asked why they didn't even send me birthday wishes, even if I didn't want to celebrate. You know, the thing about Shane is that he's very outspoken but not rude. If he sees an injustice, he'll speak up against it, and it doesn't matter who it's against. That's something I truly appreciate about him. My mom told Shane that he was making a big deal out of nothing and that I was completely okay with Paige having my birthday. She then asked me to confirm that, and that's when it hit me. Suddenly, I froze and realized that I wasn't okay with it. I had allowed it to happen for so long, but inside, I felt terrible each time it was my birthday. I wanted just one day devoted to me. Is that too much to ask for? But I told myself it was okay because I was having a wedding soon. That's what I kept telling myself in the weeks leading up to my birthday. Every time I dreaded the birthday, I reminded myself that I was getting married just a few days after. After my mom asked the question, I looked at my parents and said that it would have been nice if Paige had gotten her own birthday all those years ago. I told them that I love them, but I felt as if they prioritized Paige over me sometimes. They asked if they were supposed to treat her differently because she wasn't their biological child. I told them it would have been great if they had treated us the same. I didn't want them to treat Paige as less, but it wasn't fair that they always treated me as lesser just to make up for what Paige had been through. My parents got extremely mad and told me I was being selfish. They said that if I wanted to have a birthday, I could have had it instead of sulking for years. At that point, I felt like crying, so I just dropped the subject. They've been acting pretty weird ever since the conversation. I know they're thinking that I was selfish and caused drama for no reason. Shane was extremely apologetic for causing the drama at dinner. He was even so sweet, stopping by to get ice cream when we left my parents' house. He put a candle in the ice cream, which was quite silly because it melted fast, but it was the thought that counted. It was the only place open at the time. And for the first time in many years, I actually felt good on my birthday. I was taken aback by how he stood up for me. I needed that. However, I definitely think that I need to talk to my parents about what happened at dinner. They should stop blaming Shane, for it's not his fault. I should have spoken up and said something ages ago. This update came out exactly 3 days later. 3 days since my birthday, and today was my wedding day. It was not at all what I expected. Don't worry, I got married, but there was a lot of drama, guys. It all started in the wee hours of the morning when Paige was hogging the makeup artist and the hairdresser. I volunteered to have my makeup and hair done last so it would be fresh when I walked down the aisle. However, once the stylist started working on me, Paige kept asking them to redo some aspects of her look. I was getting extremely frustrated and close to blowing my lid, but I kept my composure. The last thing I needed was to walk down the aisle feeling angry. Besides, I knew there was no winning with Paige. She was in full brat mode. I love my sister, but she can be a spoiled, rotten brat sometimes. Nevertheless, I was able to finish getting ready in time and walk down the aisle without a hitch. The ceremony went off without a problem, and everybody was happy. When my husband did his speech, he told everyone that he actually had a surprise. That's when some employees brought in a very big cake. In addition to that, they had tons of presents. I'd never seen so many presents before. Sure, I had gotten many presents for my wedding, but in addition to the ones they brought in, it was a lot. I was extremely surprised and unsure of what to do, and then my friends started singing happy birthday. Instantly, I started to cry. I was so touched by what Shane had done for me. I wasn't expecting it at all. It melted my heart and made me love him even more. After they sang happy birthday for me, Shane made a speech. He told everyone how much he loved me and wanted to make the day special for me. He simply felt bad I couldn't celebrate my birthday a few days prior, so he did that for me. I was bawling my eyes out at this point, which upset my makeup artist because my makeup was running down my face, and before that, it looked flawless. Once I freshened up again, I went back to the wedding. That's when I ran into my mom and my sister, and they did not look very happy. They told me that we had a family meeting immediately. I tried to postpone it, but they insisted. So, I let them lead me to the room where my father was waiting. As soon as I entered, my mother asked me what the hell I was thinking. I told her I had no idea what Shane had planned, and she was fuming. She said it was incredibly disrespectful of me to blindside everyone. She felt as if it was a ploy to embarrass her and our family. She said it made them look like the reason I did not celebrate the day. Clearly, it made them look bad because they were responsible for my birthday. I mean, what do you want me to do? So, I actually assured them that was not the reason, and nobody would think that. My father told me to shut the hell up. He said he was incredibly disappointed in the way I've been acting lately. Apparently, just because I was married, I was acting out. At that point, I reminded him that Paige constantly acted out but was never reprimanded. He never said anything about her. As soon as it was me, he was offended. Huh? Dad claimed that it all happened a long time ago, and I was just grasping at straws. He felt that I would never accept my sister and was trying to punish her by having such an extravagant birthday party. I reminded him of all the birthday parties that she had, while I had none for many years. I think she should be happy for me. Speaking of Paige, she was trembling in her little boots in the corner with tears in her eyes. She said she felt bad about herself because of what I had done. I couldn't believe my ears. How could these people be so irrational? It was my day, yet they thought I ought to celebrate it with her. Their audacity makes me sick. That's when my mother told me to either include Paige or put the cake and the presents in another room so as not to offend her. I told her no, right to her face. I was tired of constantly giving up things for their precious daughter. I told the three of them to scram and leave my wedding because they were making me mad. I simply don't know where the anger came from, but I was suddenly very angry and just straight up confrontational. I wanted them out of my wedding because they were ruining it. They tried to protest, but I called security over and they were escorted out through a different exit. Luckily, they weren't thrown out in front of everyone, otherwise, it would have been so darn embarrassing. Other than that, the rest of the wedding went well, and we were going to be flying to our honeymoon destination in a couple of hours. I'll update you guys about how that goes. Hi, it's 3 weeks after my wedding, and I've just come back from my honeymoon after settling in for a couple of days. I decided to update you guys. First of all, thank you for the comments you left supporting me and my fiance. What he did made me love him even more. I mean, no one's ever stood up for me like that when it came to my family. I've always been powerless. Everything's always been about Paige and what makes her happy. I remember a couple of years ago I wanted to go to a science camp for the summer but couldn't because of her. Paige wanted to go to summer camp too, and our parents knew this and enrolled us in respective camps. I was super excited. Unfortunately, my plans for the summer were shattered. A few days before we were supposed to leave, I was informed that since Paige was feeling a bit unwell, I would have to accompany her to her camp. I asked why she couldn't just sit it out since she was sick, but she started to cry when they told her she couldn't go. Because of the crybaby, they wanted me to skip my camp and take care of her. I was upset and threw a tantrum because I really wanted to go to the camp, and instead of listening to me, they made me feel guilty for wanting to do something for myself. They've always done that when it comes to her. They'll indulge her every whim and deny me every opportunity to be happy. If she says jump, they ask how high. This has always made me feel so small in their eyes. No matter what I did, it did not matter because of Paige. I think over the years I've grown to resent my adopted sister. I get that she did not have the best of luck when she was born, but it's not my fault. It sucks that her birth parents left her, but why am I getting punished for it? The weeks I spent away with my fiancé made me realize that I had given up enough for Paige. I've suffered a lot for her because of guilt. I'm not the one who took her parents from her. I'm not the person who left her at the church, yet I'm punished as if it was my fault. I'm done with that. From now on, it's just about me. Paige and my parents have been texting and calling me since I've been on my honeymoon, but I've been ignoring them. I'm not going to allow them to ruin my honeymoon. I'm going to have a good time and talk to them when I feel like it. When I do talk to them, I'm not going to accept any disrespect. I'm going to stand up for myself and my rights. I have a feeling they're not going to like that too much, but I don't care. It's my time, not hers. 1 week later, I've just had a hell of a week. I feel incredibly tired right now after days of being high energy. I don't think I've ever been so upset in my life. I'm so glad that I put off talking to Paige and our parents until now. If I had engaged with them, I wouldn't have enjoyed my honeymoon. I would have spent the entire time worrying and stressing because of their words. It's a good thing I decided to mute them until I came back. A few days ago, I finally visited my parents and Paige. Yeah, at the ripe age of 25, she's still living with our mom and dad. Paige didn't finish college and has been attempting different careers for years now. She always has some new course she wants to do, but every time she starts, she never finishes. Mom and Dad still pour money into her dreams, even though I feel it's a waste of time. When I wanted to study further after finishing my degree, they told me they didn't have the money. I had to work and study just to get my master's, you know? Nevertheless, I see it as a blessing because it made me stronger. Because of that, I don't rely on them whatsoever. I have my own money, my own assets. Meanwhile, Paige is still staying at home and hasn't made anything of herself. If she's not careful, she's going to stay there until she's an old lady. But I digress. I'm supposed to be telling you about what happened when I went there. Well, my parents asked me where I got the nerve to ignore them. Then they reminded me about all the things they've done for me. They felt incredibly disrespected that I kicked them out of my wedding. I reminded them that they were being disrespectful towards me and trying to tell me what to do. They did not contribute to the wedding, so they had no say in it. They reminded me that I made my sister cry because I didn't want to include her in the birthday. I asked if I had included her, what was next? Was she also going to come with us on our honeymoon? She had her birthday a couple of days ago and had no reason to be involved in mine. Honestly, that conversation was not productive. It just involved us screaming at each other. My parents claimed that Shane had changed me, which wasn't true. Shane helped me figure myself out. I realized that I didn't need them or my sister in my life. I hadn't needed them for a long time. The only reason I kept them in my life was because of duty. So now, I've decided to block them all out and cut them off. It's funny that I didn't even feel remorse when I cut them off. What I felt was a great sense of relief that they were out of my life. I'm looking forward to my life with Shane now. His family has taken me in as their own, and they're incredibly kind towards me. They show me love that I've never seen before. Whatever hole my family left, I'm sure it's going to be filled by them. Right now, I'm going to focus on my marriage and my career. In a couple of years, I think Shane and I are going to have our first baby. No matter how many children we have, I'm going to make sure that they never feel the way I felt growing up. Parents have no idea how favoritism affects children. It's not fair to treat one child better than the other, even if you do have a favorite. One day, you might need the child you favored the least, and what do you do then? She might have already cut you off from her heart because of all the ill treatment over the years. Let this be a lesson to parents: playing favorites is not always the best option. You can still be a good parent by treating your kids equally. Anyway, that's all I have to say. See you.